you don't need 20 sections on the homepage. And nobody's going that far. Nobody's reading it. Keep it tight and well performing and fast versus just throwing the kitchen sink in there.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. Today, welcoming back to the show the most frequented guest at maybe 3 or 4 appearances.
Oh, man. That's crazy. I never would have thought.
Yeah. My business partner, Shawn Khemsurov. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let's give the folks a fun fact. What is a weird band you saw in high school?
Oh, I saw a bunch of bands in high school. Geez, I don't even know. I saw Cradle of Filth.
That's a fun one. So for those that listen and don't really pay attention, me and Shawn are big metalheads. The agency Electric Eye is named after a Judas Priest song. And that's enough about us. Shawn and I have like an idea we want to talk about today that came from our project manager, Andrew. And it's like a common thing we run into. It's kind of hard to like just quantify it down to one thing. But I guess oftentimes we get brought into projects a little too late, I'd say. Right, Shawn?
Yeah.
And this has a lot to do with just like choices that were made before we got involved. And how they're not all design choices, but it is kind of all about like how you could potentially be led astray by some of those choices. So where do we think we want to start here?
Yeah, I mean, let's just go through, picking the wrong designer is the biggest issue. I mean, we've had people come to us, clients, potential clients, and they say like, oh, we already have a design. We just need development. So like I already have this thing, it's good to go. I'm just going to hand it to you and you can develop it and that's going to be the store.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Has it ever been good to go?
No, never. Never in the history of life has it been good to go.
What are they giving us and what are they pretending is good to go? And let's just back this. This is less like we're not saying these people are wrong or we're not trying to imply that. It's just that they don't understand how much work actually goes into building an e-commerce site and all the sections and stuff that's needed there. So we're not trying to say anyone's dumb.
Well, it also makes sense because you're like, oh, let me find the best designer because I want a beautiful looking website. So the intention is correct. And sometimes I'm not saying this is going to be 100% of the time. Sometimes it could work. But I'd say the biggest issue there is that the designer, while they may be amazing, and have great aesthetic, great taste, they might not know e-commerce specifically. And that's kind of where things go south, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah. So quite often what we are delivered when they said we have a design already, quite often it's a homepage. It is maybe an about page design, maybe a product page design.
Yeah.
And they say, do it.
I mean, we've also seen stuff that was fully fleshed out, I would say as well. So it kind of runs the gamut, but at the end of the day, it's like slim chance that if, a specific like e-commerce agency didn't take part in the design, that there's going to be things missing, or just designed in a way that don't lend itself to maximizing sales.
Yeah. So I would say like the first major mistake in the design process would be choosing a designer or a partner that doesn't have specific e-commerce UX experience, because even a great designer, if they aren't familiar with that, what you're trying to kind of display on screen for a shopping experience, they're going to design something pretty, but it's going to be probably at the detriment of conversion.
Absolutely. Sometimes they don't even design something pretty. So then you're really missing out on everything there. So
yeah, I've seen some things come in where there's like it's overly designed and there's like way too much, maybe there's too much going on in the way of like adding friction to the shopping experience, like extra pages that should just be collections, like pages that honestly should just be the product page but aren't for some reason. And it's just a lot of interesting choices, and I could almost see why these pages get designed when someone doesn't know e-commerce and like what the templates are that they're supposed to be designing for. I could see how they could get there, like if they're used to designing for catalogs or for like, you know, informational websites. But you know, it sometimes we have to come in and kind of push back a little bit and be like, these are not there yet. Who's going to fix them?
yeah, or you'll be missing something simple, but then they'll have the checkout redesigned, which you don't really need to do with Shopify. So things like that. I mean, seen some pretty funky stuff. I guess another thing that happens is like people want to reinvent the wheel and they'll have crazy layouts with the purchase area on the left side, imagery on the right. And well, sometimes, you know, you can push the envelope a little bit. You want to do that with your branding and your colors, typography, content. You want to have cool video, imagery. That stuff is all awesome and enhances the site. But like making things different from your normal like e-commerce shopping experience just for the sake of it, I think will hurt sales in the long run, because unfortunately people are very used to like the Amazon shopping experience. And so not to say you have to copy Amazon in the least bit, please don't do that. But unfortunately, that's just how people shop online. It's the biggest website, you know, biggest business. So people are used to it and they want that sort of experience. So the more outside the box you go on layouts in the UX flow, I think the further away it gets from being easy to shop.
I don't even think it's that they want it. It's just psychologically they expect it. They have been taught this is how you buy stuff on the internet. And so anytime you break that pattern, you're introducing friction into the process, and your brand could be great. But no one listening to this show is Nike or Apple or Coca-Cola, right? Like if you are a true household name, you can break the mold and do whatever you want with your UX experience because you have that much trust built in. But when you are a startup, you know, trying to find product market fit, break the mold, get in there and like, you know, just find customers, the journey that people expect on an e-commerce website is not a place for you to take chances.
Can you ever really afford to lose customers? I mean, some of the big dogs, yeah, they're doing the same nonsense. I mean, I can call a couple out right now, but I hate shopping Uniqlo. I think Zara as well. Like these are huge companies that have access to like the best people, designers, CRO, everything. And it's just, the sites are basically unshoppable. And I would, if we had the store here, I would probably just go to the retail store. But this is happening at all levels, from startups to, you know, enterprise level, unfortunately.
Let's go back to the precipice, or for why this idea is always in our head, right? Is people come to us and they either want to use another designer or they already have something designed, right? And we don't necessarily have a problem partnering with other designers if we can vet them ourselves and say, here's our process. Will you work within our process?
Or consulting a little bit up front helps. So that's happened before where someone said, yeah, you know, I have my designer. I want to do this project with them, but we need a little help from you on a consulting level just to make sure we're not making mistakes. That's perfectly fine. And that has been successful in the past.
Yeah, that's how we'd love to see it. if we weren't the ones that were going to design it ourselves. If it's the other side, if people already they just go out and get designed, we kind of already talked about like some of the worst case scenarios. These people don't have that e-commerce experience at all. So you kind of get something that's weird. But also there's just oftentimes it's just so much stuff's left out. And we kind of already talked about that, but like we've gotten it to where there just isn't a mobile view.
Yeah, definitely. Receiving a Figma file full of desktop designs. I mean, that's cool. It's a good start, but then yeah, you're doing desktop first, which it should be mobile first. It's very hard to design mobile first. Even I'm guilty of it because it's not as exciting. It's smaller. But at the end of the day, we have clients that are 95% mobile traffic. So if you're sitting there designing for desktop, you're really missing out on 90% of your customer base and how they like to shop. So, you really want to focus on mobile navigation, just making things easy, making sure that your imagery on the product page, if you're changing variants, you can still see the image. There's tons of things, but mobile first, mobile friendly, that's the way to go. Just don't skip out on that, and don't let your designer skip out on it.
Yeah. And here's the thing is like all of these things need to get done. And, I've seen it some situations, and this is very unfortunate. It's like it costs money to have someone do this, be it us or your previous designer. And it's like, who is responsible for creating these things? Because no one's going to take just a desktop design and just develop that and make guesses to what it should do on mobile, because it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. And so that's a corner that should not be cut.
Yeah, it's going to create a bunch of extra testing at the end and QA issues. And then you have the mobile design say, oh, I didn't know that was going to render like that, or that should be a carousel. So, I mean, just do it up front and save the headache.
Yeah.
Put some time into it.
This kind of goes into that with these design choices that are being made without the input of development. Is like functionality that is designed into the theme. And it's like, well, how are we solving for that functionality? And that opens a big can of worms, especially like bundling or upsells or cross sells. A lot of that functionality, one, you don't want to build it custom for your site because you probably want the ability to change that offer at some point. But two, all of them are different and how they work and how they integrate with a Shopify theme. And so just having someone design for, let's say, like a build a box functionality without understanding what technology is going to power that build a box functionality, that's going to lead to some very interesting conversations about how to solve for that, how far off from the design it's going to actually end up, and just actually how to successfully achieve that goal.
All right. Yeah. I mean, another one I see a lot is just overloading the homepage. So, I mean, the Shopify themes, they're awesome. They have a huge plethora, the nicer ones do at least, of sections. And so you get onto the homepage and you're designing, you're utilizing some of those beautiful theme sections, and there's 25, and you put all 25 on the homepage. So from testing in our experience, people rarely make it down, I would say, a quarter of the site. Some probably don't even make it down 10% scrolling down the homepage. So you're just really putting extra stuff in there because it's there, not for any reason. I think you want to have a really nice homepage structure, starting with like a nice hero image, a call to action. Then you want to get down into some of your collections, featured collection bestsellers by category. Then maybe you want to dig a little deeper into featured products. You might want to explain your story a little bit, your about us, with links out. But you don't need 20 sections on the homepage. And nobody's going that far. Nobody's reading it. Keep it tight and well performing and fast versus just throwing the kitchen sink in there.
Yeah, I think that People don't realize how quickly their customers are going to the next page from visiting the homepage.
Absolutely.
Most of them are just seeing what's in the viewport before they go into shopping the collection that they want to shop.
Yeah, there's ADD, just moving, buzzing right through the site. So not watching your slideshow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, homepage sliders. They still exist.
Yeah, everybody asks for it. So I want to get a couple, 2 to 3 images in there just to show everything.
No one's gonna see it.
Nobody's gonna sit there and watch and wait 8 seconds for your slideshow to change. So it's not happening.
You mentioned just a second ago, these themes have a lot of sections, etc. That is also sometimes like something that isn't considered or thought of when people are designing. And also it can, if you have that foresight, it can make a lot of these missing elements a lot easier later on. If that is known by everyone on the team as to how we're going to solve for stuff, but also anything in the future that's unknown, it can also make things a lot easier. Just kind of like making sure you're choosing the right theme and have it considered in the entire process.
Yeah, that would be huge. Just ignoring the fact that you're probably going to start from a Shopify theme. I mean, you can do it fully custom, but that could potentially, depending on your level, be another mistake. But utilizing, figuring out the theme first, it would be huge. And that way you can leverage a lot of that stuff that's pre-built. You can still change it. You can customize it to your liking, but it's going to save you a bunch of time and energy just by utilizing some of the pre-built sections, or at least knowing, what you have available in the future.
Yeah. So that's something that we'll come in to some of these projects, like we said earlier, where they've got some stuff's designed, some stuff not designed. And we'll be like, hey, like, what theme were you going to use for this? And they don't really care or know. And we're like, okay, well, this one looks closest to what you have designed. The design of this is not easy, but straightforward to manipulate with a competent development team. So we can kind of solve for these designs things, but also let's just all agree to also just let the default of everything else be the rest of the stuff that you guys dropped the ball on designing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. There's something there. That's what's beautiful about the themes. There's a way to solve everything.
Yeah. And so when Shawn and I do tackle more custom projects, I guess what would be the preferred method of doing this, Shawn? What's that process look like?
Hiring us. Yeah. I mean, we would want to start from the beginning, do some discovery, figure everything out, have a clear idea of the sitemap and what we're doing, pick the correct theme to start with. And then from there, depending on the level of customization needed or budgeted for as well, we're either going to design within the theme or we're going to bust out a Figma file, do the design, get approval, and then move into development.
Yep.
And launch. So
yeah, and it's definitely with just how module, I think is the correct term, like Shopify is getting with sections everywhere and stuff.
Modular.
I don't know, man. But yeah, it's like these conversations do get a little bit deep, and you have to you're almost getting down to like this section on this page is going to be customized, or it's going to be what's out of the box with the theme, just so everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
Takes a little upfront work, but then everyone knows later on. And then the advantages of using an off-the-shelf theme, like from the Shopify ecosystem, and we're not talking about a free theme, by the way. Like we're talking about spend a couple $100 on these things. It will save you just so much headache and time and energy.
I'd even clarify that. Spend a few $100 on it, because there's definitely a range. I think I haven't checked recently, but there's themes that are free. There's themes that are a couple hundred. There's themes that are around 400. It's not surprising that we tend to lead people towards those premium themes that are up there and like $400, $500. I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting so much more with those. You're getting performance, you're getting sections, you're getting a team that's have, a lot of foresight and thought put into those themes, and it's worth the extra couple $100 not to just skimp and, just get a great theme by a trusted developer. You can always ask us if you have questions about that. We have specifics that we like. We've probably talked about it in other podcasts.
Yeah.
Just a quick advertisement for my previous appearances. But yeah, picking the right theme is clutch.
Yeah. So just to kind of rehash this and try in like one or two sentences, it's like, if you are going to be redesigning your theme or designing your store for the first time, make sure you're choosing a partner with e-commerce experience, specifically design experience, and development experience. They know Shopify's ecosystem, right? If they've never designed for Shopify, you need someone that knows Shopify to be consulting on this thing for sure.
Yeah. Doesn't even matter if it's a freelancer or an agency. I would just look at their portfolio, look at their work, make sure they've done, really nice looking Shopify stores that work well and are fast. So that's the way to go.
Yep. From there, choose the right theme. You're going to be spending at least $400 here probably, which is going to save you money later on. So much money later on. Because here's the thing that a lot of people overlook, and now I'm going on a tangent. I know I said I was going to finish this episode, but like if you don't design for it if you're doing a custom design and a custom development project, one, Shawn already alluded to it, probably not the right choice for people making less than $5, maybe even less than $10 million a year. That's just a technical debt that you don't need. You just use a theme that's been vetted by tens of thousands of stores across the ecosystem. But I digress. If you don't design specifically for those additional looks or edge cases, say for a new sale that's coming up or just like a complete new functionality that's in the pipeline, now you have to hire a development and a designer team to do that again. If you're going custom, versus that stuff might be caked in already to a theme off the shelf, and it just gets you to that solution faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we could go on this topic for a long time, but I don't know if you want to keep going or cut it off for now. It's up to you.
No, let's wrap it up. Let's let these people know. All right. So if you guys are out there and you're thinking about redesigning your Shopify store, comes up in like 3 different ways. 1, you're on Shopify. You don't like the current look is. 2, you're on a different platform. You're looking to migrate to Shopify. That's a great time to redesign your site. Why inherit bad choices from your previous kind of platform? And then 3, like if you're looking to stand up a net new store. But all three of those processes, there is design involved, and then how that design integrates with the Shopify ecosystem and the apps and just the themes and how all that stuff functions. That takes someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I would hire at least someone with e-commerce experience. You can always talk to us. We'll take care of you and make a beautiful Shopify site that performs well and make sales. So
that's the goal at the end of the day. Shawn, thanks for coming on. I'm sure I'll have you back in a couple months.
I'm down. Always down. Thank you for having me.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.